4 hidden causes of aging after 60, and how to reverse them naturally. Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, wait a minute, when did that line get there? Or maybe you've caught yourself feeling a little more tired than usual, a little stiffer in the mornings, a little slower to bounce back after a long day. If so, you're definitely not alone. After 60, it can feel like the clock is ticking a little faster. But here's the good news. There's a lot more within your control than you might think. Because aging doesn't just happen. It's not this unstoppable wave that sweeps over us the day we blow out that 60th birthday candle. Much of what we think of as getting older is actually the result of very specific habits, imbalances, and hidden causes, many of which we can address, naturally and gently, starting right now. And that's what we're going to talk about today. You deserve to feel vibrant, strong, and mentally sharp, not just okay for your age. And while we can't turn back time, we can slow it down. In fact, you'd be surprised just how many people feel better in their 70s than they did in their 50s, just by uncovering and reversing a few common causes of premature aging. Let's start with something that almost no one talks about, but it affects nearly everyone past midlife: chronic, low-level inflammation. Now, I know inflammation might sound like some kind of vague medical term, but let's keep it simple. Imagine your body's cells are like hard-working little people building and fixing everything inside you. Inflammation is what happens when they're constantly being called to fight fires. Except those fires never quite go out. It might be from sugary foods, stress, lack of sleep, or even poor gut health. And over time, this constant emergency response wears your body down. Your joints start to ache more. Your skin gets thinner or duller. Your energy dips. Your memory can start to feel a bit cloudy. That's inflammation quietly aging you from the inside out. But here's the beauty of the human body. It responds incredibly well to the right support. Simply by eating more anti-inflammatory foods, like leafy greens, berries, turmeric, olive oil, and fatty fish, you can start to calm that internal stress. Even adding a short walk each day helps reduce inflammation levels. And if you're someone who enjoys a warm cup of tea, switch to green tea. It's packed with antioxidants that fight inflammation naturally. There's one gentleman I remember reading about from a small village in Japan. He was in his mid-90s, walked daily to the sea, and every morning, he brewed fresh tea with turmeric and ginger. He said it helped him feel light in the bones. That simple ritual was his medicine, and the science agrees. But inflammation isn't the only sneaky cause of aging. Let's talk about something just as common and just as overlooked: poor sleep quality. Now, you might be thinking, of course I sleep. I go to bed every night. But sleep in your 60s and beyond isn't always as restful as it once was. Maybe you wake up several times a night. Maybe it takes you a while to drift off. Or maybe you wake up feeling like you barely rested at all. Here's why that matters. Sleep isn't just about feeling rested. It's when your body does its deepest repairs. Your brain clears out waste. Your muscles rebuild. Your skin regenerates. And if you're not getting that deep, restorative sleep, your body starts aging faster. It's like trying to fix a house while people are still walking through the halls. Your system just doesn't have the time or space to truly heal. Now, this doesn't mean you need to be in bed for 10 hours a night. It's about improving the quality of your sleep. That might mean turning off screens at least an hour before bed, keeping your bedroom cool and dark, or establishing a calming routine. Maybe a little gentle stretching, some soft music, or reading something uplifting before sleep. Even a magnesium supplement or a small handful of pumpkin seeds in the evening can help naturally support relaxation. Think of it like preparing your body for a good night, instead of just crashing at the end of the day. A woman I knew in her 80s had a nightly habit of lighting a candle, sipping chamomile tea, and writing down 3 things she was grateful for. That's how she put the day to bed, she said. She rarely had trouble sleeping, and she always woke up with this peaceful, glowing energy that honestly made her look 15 years younger than her age. So between chronic inflammation and poor sleep, you've got 2 major players in how quickly, or slowly, you age after 60. And the wonderful part is, both of them respond beautifully to small, natural changes. This isn't about magic pills or expensive treatments. It's about giving your body what it's been asking for all along. And here's something I really want you to hear. Aging isn't a punishment. It's not something to fight or fear. It's a journey, and one you get to shape. You're wiser now. You know your body better. You've learned what matters. And you still have so much power to influence how you feel in the years to come. You're not just getting older, you're evolving. And with a little awareness and some gentle, natural shifts, you can help your body age with grace, strength, and clarity. Now that we've talked about two of the biggest hidden causes of aging, ones that are often quietly affecting us in the background, let's continue exploring how to gently turn the tide and support more vitality from the inside out. Because once you begin to understand what's happening beneath the surface, it becomes so much easier to make choices that truly support your body. So let's talk about the third hidden cause of aging after 60, something that affects not only how you feel physically, but how you show up emotionally and mentally every single day. I'm talking about nutrient depletion. Now, most people assume that if they're eating regularly, they're getting everything they need. But here's the thing. Our bodies become less efficient at absorbing nutrients as we get older. Even if you're eating what looks like a healthy diet, things like low stomach acid, certain medications, or even just long-term habits can leave you running on less than a full tank. And what does that look like in everyday life? Well, it might show up as thinning hair, brittle nails, dry skin, brain fog, or just feeling off in ways you can't quite explain. Over time, this slow, quiet drain on your nutritional reserves accelerates aging from the inside out. But here's where it gets hopeful. Once you recognize this, you can absolutely turn things around, and the changes can be felt quickly. One of the first and easiest steps is to focus on nutrient-dense foods. These are the powerhouses: leafy greens like spinach and kale, deeply colored berries, nuts and seeds, beans, and wild-caught fish. They give you the most nutritional bang for your bite. And don't forget hydration. Dehydration is another silent agger, especially after 60. Your sense of thirst isn't as sharp as it once was, so you might not realize your cells are drying out. Even mild dehydration can cause fatigue, confusion, and joint stiffness, all things that mimic aging. Try keeping a glass or bottle of water nearby at all times. Sip often, even if you're not feeling especially thirsty. And if plain water gets boring, infuse it with cucumber, lemon, or fresh herbs for a little extra flavor without the sugar. Now, in some cases, certain supplements might be helpful too, especially for nutrients like B12, magnesium, vitamin D, and omega-3s. Of course, it's always best to talk with your doctor before adding anything new. But once your body starts getting what it's been missing, you might be surprised at how your skin starts to glow again, how your energy stabilizes, how your mind feels clearer and more alive. There's a man I met once. He was 87, sharp as a tack, always had a sparkle in his eye. He swore by one thing: making sure every meal had color. If your plate looks like a rainbow, he'd say, you're probably giving your body what it needs. That stuck with me. And it's such a simple way to think about nourishment. The truth is, your body wants to repair itself. It's built to do that. But it needs the raw materials to do the job. And once you start feeding yourself with intention and care, aging slows down in the most beautiful ways. Now let's turn to something that's often misunderstood, but plays a massive role in how quickly we age. Stress. Not the big, obvious kind of stress like a major life crisis, though that certainly matters. I'm talking about the little, daily stressors that stack up like bricks. The traffic, the bills, the never-ending to-do list, the worrying about your loved ones, or about things out of your control. Chronic stress sends a steady stream of cortisol, your body's main stress hormone, pumping through your system. And over time, that cortisol becomes toxic. It breaks down collagen in your skin, increases belly fat, affects your memory, disrupts your sleep, and makes it harder for your body to recover from illness or injury. Centenarians? They aren't immune to stress, but they've learned how to keep it in check. And the way they do it isn't by having perfect lives. It's by having practices that help them return to calm. That might mean daily walks in nature, time spent with grandchildren, gardening, cooking meals slowly and mindfully, singing in a choir, laughing with friends over a glass of wine. These moments create a rhythm that keeps their nervous systems in balance. You don't need to move to a remote village or meditate for an hour a day. Even 5 minutes of slow breathing, a quick stretch, or a short phone call with someone you love can help shift your nervous system from fight or flight into a healing, restful state. Sometimes, reversing the effects of stress just means giving yourself permission to rest, to pause, to stop trying to be productive every moment of the day. You've earned the right to exhale. I once read about a woman in her 90s who made it a point to take a tea pause every afternoon, no matter how busy the day. She'd sit by her window, sip slowly, and just watch the birds. It was her way of reminding her body and mind that everything was okay. That ritual, small as it was, became a kind of healing. So here's a little something to think about. When was the last time you truly felt at ease? Not distracted, not multitasking, not rushing, but fully present and peaceful? Because the more often you give your nervous system that sense of calm, the more your body moves out of survival mode and into repair mode. And that's where the magic happens. You don't need to chase youth. You just need to support your body and mind in the way they've been asking all along. Now that we've gently uncovered how nutrient depletion and daily stress quietly contribute to premature aging, and more importantly, how you can begin to reverse those effects in small, natural ways. There's one more hidden cause we haven't touched on yet, and it might surprise you. Because it doesn't live in your fridge, it's not something you can touch or see in the mirror, but it shows up in ways that affect nearly every part of your health, from your heart to your bones to your sense of purpose. I'm talking about disconnection. Now, this isn't just about being lonely in the traditional sense. You can be surrounded by people and still feel isolated. Or you might be someone who enjoys time alone, but still needs meaningful connection. What really matters isn't how many people are around you. It's how deeply you feel seen, valued, and part of something larger than yourself. And here's what's fascinating. Researchers have found that disconnection is just as harmful to your health as smoking or obesity. That constant low-level feeling of being forgotten or unnecessary actually changes your biology. It raises stress hormones, weakens your immune system, and even shortens telomeres, the little protective caps on your DNA that influence how fast you age. But just like the other causes we've talked about, this one is reversible. Deeply, beautifully reversible. When we look at communities where people live past 90 and even 100, places like Sardinia in Italy or Okinawa in Japan, one thing stands out every single time: connection. They gather daily. They share meals. They walk and talk and laugh together. Even into their 90s, these folks have a reason to get up in the morning, a role to play, a hand to hold, a neighbor who checks in, and it makes all the difference. Now, maybe you're thinking, that sounds lovely, but I don't have that kind of community. And I hear you. Modern life has shifted so much that we often live far from family or friends, or feel unsure of how to reconnect once those old routines change. But here's the hope. Connection doesn't have to be big to be meaningful. It can be as simple as striking up a friendly chat at the market, calling someone you haven't spoken to in a while, joining a small group at the library, church, or community center, volunteering once a week, or even just sharing a hobby, gardening, crafting, walking, with someone who enjoys the same thing. And don't underestimate the power of being the one to reach out. Sometimes others are feeling just as hesitant or unsure. But the moment one person breaks the ice, a spark of belonging can be lit. There's a man I heard about. He was 91 and lived alone, but every afternoon at exactly 3 o'clock, he sat on a bench in the park near his home. Not for exercise, not even for the view, but because over time, he'd become known as the friendly hello man. People walking by would wave. Some stopped to chat. A few brought coffee or stories from their day. That little ritual became a kind of lifeline, not just for him, but for everyone who passed by. Connection doesn't always need words. Sometimes it's just being there. When you have something or someone to care about, something to look forward to, it activates your spirit. And that energy is like medicine. You smile more. You move more. You feel more engaged. And yes, you age more slowly. So, let's take a breath and look at what we've uncovered together. Aging isn't a straight line. It's not just about birthdays or genetics or wrinkles. It's about the choices we make each day, some small, some quiet, but all incredibly powerful. We've explored how chronic inflammation quietly drains your energy and health, but can be eased with simple foods, daily movement, and calming practices. We've looked at how poor sleep chips away at your vitality, but can be restored with better habits, rhythms, and restful routines. We talked about nutrient depletion, how your body might be running on empty without you realizing it, and how real, whole food and hydration can turn things around faster than you think. And we uncovered the quiet ache of disconnection, and how even one small moment of meaningful contact can begin to fill that space and nourish your soul. Now, here's the part one want you to really remember. None of this is about being perfect. It's not about turning into some ideal version of yourself or doing everything right. It's about becoming more in tune with what your body and spirit need right now, in this season of your life. Because you're not done growing. Not by a long shot. You're still becoming, still discovering, still influencing the lives of others around you, whether you realize it or not. Every time you choose a real food over a processed one, every time you go for a walk instead of sitting in pain, every time you say no to something that drains you or yes to something that lights you up, you're telling your body, I'm still here. I'm still worth caring for. And that message, that's powerful. That's healing. That's what adds years not just to your life, but life to your years. So if this video has spoken to you in some way, if it made you think, reflect, or even smile, would you let us know in the comments? What's one small shift you're ready to try this week? We'd love to hear your voice and your story. Because this space, it's not just a video. It's a community, a place to be inspired, supported, and reminded that aging doesn't have to mean fading. It can mean flourishing. And if you haven't already, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're here every week with simple, heart-centered guidance to help you live stronger, feel better, and enjoy every season of life. Here's to more movement, deeper rest, nourishing food, and genuine connection. Here's to knowing it's never too late. And here's to you, living your best life at any age. You've got this.